All right, TGI Friday. It's been a few weeks. A lot going on nationally, state, and locally. Let's just jump right in. Under the heading of Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes, this mayor just never refuses to back off and certainly doesn't fail to disappoint in just how clueless and irresponsible and reckless he can be. I've said it before, I think the fifth graders he taught are definitely brighter than him. But thankfully, his basically chicken game has been called and the bluff has been called, and now the United States government will be conducting an investigation in Chicago and of the police department and of the state of Illinois. So kudos to Attorney General Pam Bondi. We certainly welcome this investigation, and hopefully some changes are forced upon this city, or their federal grant money gets withheld if they want to keep doing this, because we know full well there is a major budget shortfall in Chicago and Illinois, and the mayor and the governor have very little options getting out of it. And should they lose federal funding on top of it, or at least frozen federal funding, it's going to make it that much more difficult. But it's pretty disappointing the governor, who repeatedly said he wanted criminals out of this state, is not cooperating. He's now going back the other way and resisting. So they can't get their own messaging straight. But while she's in town, we'll be asking for the Attorney General to conduct an investigation on a separate topic. More about that at a later date. Working on the draft letter for that request, and when it's ready, we'll certainly post it. Onward we go. Accountability. Let's talk about the Inspector General report and Brandon violating his own ethics ordinance. But nothing to see here. No accountability, no transparency like he promised. It's more needed than ever, the recall statute down in Springfield. I guess he's somewhat helping us, trying to convince lawmakers that this needs to pass and put it on the voters of Chicago about getting him out before this term is over, because he is a total train wreck. But I don't know what teeth the Inspector General has at this point. This is a mayor who names a chief of staff who is registered in Texas to vote. Still has a job. No accountability, no transparency. Names a lackey, an incompetent, unqualified lackey, as the intergovernmental affairs person in Kennedy Barkley, who is not only unqualified for that job, and I witnessed that firsthand down in Springfield, just walking around like a lost puppy following other people when she's supposed to be the lead for intergovernmental affairs, but a major police hater, and have said vile things about the police department, should never hold a position of authority within anybody's administration, yet still there. You have Ramirez Rosa, the alderman, one of the mayor's best allies, laying his hands on a female alderman, Emma Mitz. Nothing done, other than lose some leadership positions. But onward we go. You have Yancey and Mitchell, the aldermen, who got into a scuffle. It just goes on and on and on, the disarray and dysfunction within this city government. I don't know what it's going to take to change, but that recall statute could go a long way in proving useful. About Tom Homan, I'm just going to leave this last little nugget here. For any officers who are either working at City Hall, working on a security detail outside the mayor's house, or specifically his body detail that accompanies him everywhere, should the federal government decide they're putting handcuffs on Brandon Johnson, I would strongly encourage you to stand down and get out of the way. Don't make a bad situation worse and get yourself tied up in federal charges. That's all I can really say. And I guess in a few weeks, we will see what ridiculous nonsense the mayor is going to spout when he comes before the committee in Washington, D.C. on March 5th. That should be a circus in and of itself. But until then, have a good weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Please don't drink and drive, and we'll see you next Friday.